Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Matt. I'm here doing a roof rack video. I did a quick short in YouTube talking about why some of this stuff was good when I was in a parking garage in Boston. I'll touch on that in the video. But yeah, I've got the Sherpa Little Bear roof rack on my second gen Tundra with the crow's nest on the back, and the accessories on top are all quick release. And I'll show you all about those and why I'm running it the way I am. So let's jump on in. All right, so like I said, this is the Sherpa Little Bear roof rack. This is for the double cab Tundra, the second gen. And then on the back, we've got the crow's nest. This one is like is a topper rack, so it doesn't necessarily depend on what vehicle you have, more the size of it, so you can pick the crossbars. This one was super easy to install. You just have to go into the slots there, put in the bolts, get it centered and everything. The Little Bear roof rack was a little bit harder, especially just doing it myself at home. I had quite a time getting it centered because every time I'd get it up there, it'd kind of slide off. But, you know, like everything, you want to measure until you actually know where you're going to cut or drill on, in this case. So I measured multiple times. I got it, and I probably should have gone back like a couple millimeters, a centimeter or so, because the fairing is up at the top point now, and on the corner on that side, my windshield wiper just barely touches it. So that was my fault on doing that. I should have come back just slightly. Other than that, it took a couple hours to get this one installed, but super happy with both of them. Now, I keep everything pretty simple on the roof rack, and I do things a very specific way. I kind of did the same thing on my Tacoma, but switched it up a little bit on this one. So I keep the rear rack empty because most times if I'm going out to camp in it, I'm not putting a rooftop tent or anything on it. I'm strapping some of my like ground tents, like a Gazelle or something like that, to this. Eventually I want to pick up an Oz tent. Those are pretty awesome, and I just like how they set up so quickly and they have room for you to actually live in. So I got this rack to be able to strap things to, because those tents are just slightly longer than the bed, and if you've got a bunch of gear in there, I don't want a tent just floating around in there. I also wanted to be able to but I wanted to be able to put an awning on the roof rack too. So right now I've got the Dirt Box Overland. This is the 270 awning, and I'm probably actually going to slide it forward just a little bit. I didn't want it like blocking the door or over the door, and but it sits a little far back, so I'm finding that when I'm actually opening it, it has a little too much weight on the back side of it, so it kind of pulls forward. That's why I used a third bracket back there, whereas if I move it forward you know, a few inches, you know, 6 inches or so, the weight will support on that rear bracket back there. And I can't move the rear bracket on the Sherpa rack to that back slot, just because the bolts holes don't fit correctly. So this was just what I had to do for now. So if I slide it forward, I should be able to do that. But anyway, so then these are the HD awning brackets. So these are for like a 270 awning or something like that. If you just had like a regular you know, awning that goes straight out, you could use their other brackets, but these are the HD ones for a little bit heavier weight, and they attach multiple points, so this thing's not coming off at all, ever. All right, so let's talk about the main part of the roof rack, and these are the things that I wouldn't say stay on all the time, but if I'm going somewhere, they go with me. I tend to actually leave my case on the roof rack because I use the recovery gear more around town than I do on trails. And it's mostly because there will be a car like broken down in the middle of the road, and I just grab my stuff and pull them somewhere that they're not in the way and more safe. So I've actually used my recovery gear quite a bit, so I pretty much leave that up there all the time. And for another reason I'll get into. But anyway, starting from this side, so I've got the Max Trex boards here, and these are the new stealth mounts from Overland Kitted. I really like these. I'll get into that in a second. I've got the Demos Delta Pro shovel here with their mount, and then I've got the Condition 1 1229 case on a mounting company large mount. So one thing about every single piece of this is I can take everything off this roof rack in under a minute. It takes longer to walk around the vehicle and get the things off than it does to actually remove everything. So for these ones, this new mount, so this is the stealth mount, and Matt over there at Overland Kitted sent me this. He wanted me to take a look at it, and there's a couple things I like about it. So pull it off. So with these mounts, not only do they attach to pretty much any roof rack system that's out there, you just have to have the right hardware. You can move your pins down when you're not using them, so everything sits flush. Last week I was in Boston, was out visiting family, and we went to go to the aquarium. Every single parking garage that was in walking distance was like 6'3" or 6'6", and I think my truck is pretty much close to 6'6", might be just slightly like shorter. I'm 6 foot and I come to just above the door on this, but with the roof rack and the pins and everything standing up, there was no way I was going to get into any garage. I finally found one that was 6'9", so I was able to pull everything off and get in there. So the highest point on the roof rack was the Demos mount and the mounting company pin block, but those were fine. But had I not been able to pull everything off quickly, it would have been a problem. So these you're able to just push down as soon as you get into a parking garage or a situation that you don't want them up or on, or if you're somebody who, there's really no reason to run with your Max Tracks around town every day. You're not getting stuck on the way to the grocery store unless it's like winter and it's a blizzard, in which case just stay home. But even if you do, this is nice because you just throw them back up and there they go. So the other nice thing is, those of you who have mounted their Max Tracks sometimes know that your pins, when you get them on there, they can be a little they don't just slide on. You have to kind of wiggle them, which is nice. But with these ones, because they wiggle just slightly, they're not hard mounted into a bolt hole. I mean, they are, but because of that feature where it goes down, you can actually move your pins to get them, to come up and stand a different way. So that's why I have this one on here. It works out super well. I love this idea. Overland Kitted. You can pick those up. I don't make anything off of that. I'm not sponsored. I'm not anything. I did receive them from Matt because he wanted me to check them out, tell him what he thought, see if there's any feedback. Right now, no feedback. The hardest thing about them was when you install them. If you want your pins to fold a certain way, you have to flip one side depending on where your roof rack lays. But with how they're built, it's a super great option. Easy to get on and off. Install was easy. So, obviously the same Max Tracks pins that we all know and love. You can lock those and all that. So you've got all that stuff. I'm gonna lock those back up real quick. The Demos shovel. I don't really need this in an easy accessible place, because most times when you're in trouble, you're not rushing to get anywhere, you're not rushing to get out, you're just trying to get out. Or you're at camp and you just need your shovel for stuff around camp. So with the Demo shovel, I put it up here, and it is nice because my truck is so tall. I think I can maybe show you here. So if you are standing next to it, you can't really see what's up there. It is kind of hidden by everything. So I generally don't have to worry about anybody trying to get up here. So I got their mount. I did put some heat shrink around it so the rattle would be a little less on there. And you just undo it, pull it out, to mount it back up. Put it on, boom. So it's super easy and simple. This is a nice little shovel to have. It's great, it's built well, takes a beating, you can really thrash it. I know some people complain about the price, but I like high quality gear. Yes, I could just go get a little shovel from the hardware store. I did this, so have that one. Anyway, so that's that. I do have a blank space here if I needed to put something else. I don't know what. Maybe like a Starlink mount from mounting company eventually will go here. Just depends on how I end up running that. But I'm gonna move over to the other side and show you the case. So on this side, and I did put these up here. I did put the case up here on the driver's side because if I am getting out to help somebody on the side of the road on a trail, I can easily just get out, grab it, and go. I don't have to walk around a truck. That's why I did it on this side. But this is the 1229 case from Condition 1. Great American-made company. And inside, I've got a toe strap. I've got a couple soft shackles from Dead Man Off-Road, and then I've got the Dead Man Off-Road stretchy band. So I've got pretty much everything I need for a quick recovery. All my other recovery stuff, hard shackles, hitch bounce, everything like that is in a bag in the back. And that's where I keep that because I don't want the hard stuff kind of rattling in here. So this keeps the ropes, keeps some other stuff. I still have room if I needed to put something else on here, but that's this case. It locks really easily. The nice part is though, if you've seen any of my other videos, mounting the mounting company mounts, super easy. You just pull the pin and take the case off. And then if you need to, when you need to put it back on, it lines up, locks into place, and you're good to go. So on this one, because this is the longer case, I did utilize the case stabilizer blocks here. So all those do is if you have a long case and you can't flush mount your mount to the roof rack, because you can sometimes get your mount flush mounted to the roof rack. It depends on where your dimple dies sit. So if you are able to space your crossbars enough to go in between or on the outer edges, you can go flush mount. I've done that on my last rack. It fit perfectly like that, and I didn't need to use little spacers on this rack with where everything else needed to go. I couldn't move anything, so it had to sit right here. But so these stabilizer blocks are just ever so slightly bigger than this, so they give you a good upward tension on the case, so that with a case like this, and the weight that's in it, you would have, off-road or somewhere, you would have a little bit of rocking if those weren't there. The mount does not rattle. I don't hear anything. I mean, when you're off-road, there's a lot of noise anyway, so that's something that I don't worry about, but that's the case. No pun intended. The mounting company mount is nice because not only is it quick release, but there is a lock here that you can put a padlock through and lock your case to your truck. You can also lock these cases shut anyway. So that's the roof rack setup. Like I said, I like to keep it really simple. I like everything to be able to come off really quick just because, situations like a parking garage, you want to be able to get things on and off quickly. Or, when I'm usually at home, when I'm going around town, I just take the max tracks off, leave them in the garage, put the pins down so they're not up there catching air. I can take the shovel off, leave that off if I don't want it on there. And then for the case, like I said, I usually leave this on here for recovery gear, so that I can access it quickly. I can help somebody off the road if they need help, but also I do work for the mounting company, so it is nice to be able to have this up here so that when I'm around town, I can show it to people, or if I'm going to visit a vendor or somebody like that, I can show them how this works in a very simple, effective way. So that's the roof rack setup. Again, the Sherpa Little Bear roof rack, mounting company mount, large mount on a Condition 1 1229 case, the Emos Delta Pro with their mount here, and then the max tracks are mounted on the stealth mounts from Overland Kitted. So those are great. Highly recommend them. Right now, I have no feedback to them. They just work. It's nice, easy install, and it's nice to have that option to fold them up and down. Very simple innovation that's effective. And then keeping the crow's nest empty so that I can put stuff on it when I need to. I don't need to have my roof rack loaded all the time. And then on that side is the dirt box Overland 270 awning with the Sherpa HD brackets, and then one extra bracket in the back until I move that forward. So anyway, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you want to know about any of the other products and you have questions about that, let me know. And anyway, thanks for watching.